Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations 3X again, presented by IE Horizons. I'm Kamaljeet, your host. And if you have liked our videos before, please do like and subscribe to our channel. It will help us reach a wider audience. Today, we are again talking to Archana Arun. We spoke with her a few weeks ago, and she discussed about the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. The teachings of the Bhagavad Gita are highly relevant to mental health and well-being of every individual. The Bhagavad Gita is not only just a spiritual text, it is a psychological guide that provides timeless wisdom to maintaining mental equilibrium and finding lasting happiness. So let's hear what Archana ji has got to tell us. And do like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done that as yet. Thank you. Hi, Archana. Thank you for being here with us again. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm really good today. Thank you.
Yeah. So last time we were talking about the Bhagavad Gita and how relevant it is even in the current times. It is an old scripture, sacred scripture. I've always believed it to be a spiritual truth, and it's been moving through ages and ages, and people still stick to it as their source of daily guidance and interpretation. So, yeah, and I know that you're an expert and, you have read so much about it, studied in depth, and helping people with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm expert at it. I'm still at a learning stage, but I have understood the essence of it. And that's what itself is so helpful in life that I think it can be a guide in this lifetime also. And we have to understand this why this text, which is like 5,000 years old, is still relevant today. Because it undertakes a fundamental issue in each and every person's life. And that is the confusion. Okay. So, and the battlefield, the whole background of the Bhagavad Gita is battlefield. So we have to understand why this is relevant. Such an old scripture or the story is still relevant in today's world, because if you understand, our life is very hectic today. Even our life can become like a battlefield. Getting up in the morning or getting kids ready or even handling a relationship can become a battlefield, isn't it? And
Yeah.
at that time, you as an individual, which is represented by the Arjun in Bhagavad Gita, is always sometimes gets into too much of confusion or dilemma, and then we don't know what to do. That's where Krishna's teaching Bhagavad Gita comes into play as to tell us or guide us in the right direction what we are supposed to do. It gives that clarity of mind, and that is why it's so relevant today. Even our body can become a battlefield if we don't take care of our body, right?
Yeah, tell me one thing, is inner resilience related to, our daily rituals and prayers? Like, do we say that if we are praying daily, then, our inner resilience becomes stronger and we are able to face our day with, more positivity? Is it based on the prayer or what would you say?
So, yes. So, any ritual, whether it's a prayer or a meditation or you do yogasana or pranayam, it's helpful. But if you do with an understanding, not just mechanical, then it becomes more helpful if it works on the mind. If you're just doing some ritual, just, or some arti without understanding the meaning or without that connection with the divine, then it's just a mere physical ritual. It may not have that effect, even though it's a good karma, right?
Yeah.
Any good karma has a good effect. Doesn't matter. It actually disciplines you. Rituals are mainly to discipline you for the beginners, for initial stages, even for children. That's why we have so many rituals. So it's simple, like you have a sleep ritual. Similarly, we have a lot of rituals in our life related to the divine being or our pujas or mantra jap, everything. But if you just do as a mechanical thing that I have to get this done or without having any feeling attached to it, then that resilience part doesn't develop that much. Okay.
Yeah, so that emotional.
Understanding.
Okay, so that emotional and the feeling part you say is the connection with the divine.
Yes. So everything in Sanskrit is called upasana. Upasana means any ritual that you do. It's a part of your sadhana. Sadhana means your spiritual practices. So if we understand the root word upasana, upa means near, and vasana means to sit, asan, like in an asan. So you sit near a image or some kind of thing that you sit, any holy thing that you consider, and you sit every day and develop that discipline. And once you develop that discipline to come and sit at your altar every day, you develop that relationship with that divinity. Okay, that's how it develops that love and the reverence, and then you grow in your spiritual practice. Okay, that's very, very important. And they say that our rishis have said that discipline leads to devotion, and that devotion leads to that knowledge coming to you easily. It seeps in more easily because this knowledge of the self, because everything is the self knowledge, like what we call Atmagyan, what is your true nature.
Yeah.
That is so subtle. That is so subtle that it doesn't enter a mind which is very rigid, or mind which is not open to compassion or love. So to develop that devotion, that love towards your own practice first and towards something higher, that to have that knowledge seep in, these practices are very, very important. Okay. And that's where it develops the resilience. So it's almost like when you start having a relationship with that divine being, okay, even though you don't know what it is, but at least you follow it with discipline and gradually the devotion develops in. It's almost like your confidence level increases because that's your own inner strength that's reflecting. Okay.
Yeah, when I listen to some spiritual teachers, like I don't want to quote names, but I've heard many people saying that, that when you're observing yourself, as an outsider, then you develop the resilience because, you're looking out, you're not participating in it. And even in Atma Swarup, they say Atma Swarup is also that observer. So I don't
Mhm.
know exactly.
It's Sanskrit, it's called Sakshi Bhav. Okay. So one is Atma, which is Nirakar, right? Which we are actually. But then if you assume the role of a Sakshi, that you are observer of your own mind and whatever is happening in your life, that is actually a spiritual practice, Sakshi Bhav, witness mindset, like witness drishti, you can say, that you are observing your own emotions. Okay. You're observing your own tendencies of mind. You're observing your own reaction to certain things. So that awareness starts with self-observation. Like, for example, if some problem or relationship triggers you or any thought, you start observing, oh, I'm getting triggered. First of all, that awareness has to develop. And then once you start developing that awareness, it separates you, the observer, with your issues. It creates a distance.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how it develops the resilience from inside. Okay, I'm reacting to this thing. And then meanwhile, it doesn't work alone. You have to keep doing other aspects of sadhana too, right? It's not just that one thing. It's a myriad of practices. Like you have to do your pranayam, your yogasan, your scripture studies. Everything has to come together to build up that resilience gradually. Because ultimately, when that gyan or the knowledge seeps in, you actually have become very strong. Even the fear of anything or even the death goes away at that highest stage, for that Mahatmas or the rishis, that fear has gone. So, but we have to start slow. We have to start every day. So the first day is discipline.
Yeah. So what would you say to people, like we are, in fact, every day I'm listening to something or the other, either on the news or reading somewhere in text, that mental wellness is very important these days. A lot of people are falling prey and to this weakness, and in many different ways, can be depression, can be anxiety. It's also behavior problem. They have borderline issues, behavior problems, split personality. Then it comes to addictions as well. How would you relate all this, and what is the best way to process this information to wellness?
Yeah, so in our scriptures, it's written, and I'll give you Bhagavad Gita's reference to. Arjun had a panic attack in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He was totally shattered, thinking that, oh my God, I have to kill my own relatives. So in the first chapter, it's described that he was getting what we call today the panic attack. He was saying that my dhanush is slipping out of my hand. I'm getting, my throat is getting dry. So we also get all these mental health issues because we are too much caught up in the situation. And when we think that something that is happening in our life is beyond our control, we lose control. And then that only happens when we are not aware of our real self. For example, everybody can relate to being a mother, right? But taking care of kids is can become so difficult sometimes that a mother can go into panic attack sometimes, or depression or sadness, because she feels that there's too much on my plate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I have to do that feeling of that I have to do so much. See, when that seeps in, and then you feel that it's too much for me, then that anxiety, depression, or panic attack happens in occasions of life. Whereas in Bhagavad Gita, uh, what Sri Krishna teaches us that no, you're not this body. You have to understand that everybody is going through the churnings of the karma. So you don't take ownership of whatever is happening right now. Krishna says that you become nimitta matra. You're just a medium to get things done. So similarly in life, when we try to control everything, that everything should go according to what I want,
Yeah.
then that leads to frustration and sadness. Okay. Like for example, simple thing, if our kids are not going in right direction or not studying well, we try to take the ownership of everything and we take it very personally, where we step back and talk to them nicely as a human being that this is for your good, and the way we talk makes a huge difference in the life, and how we process it ourselves too, that my duty as a mother is to make sure they're doing their duty properly. Okay. And
Yeah.
then only when they're doing, they'll flourish in life. So it's not like that, oh my God, my child is not doing homework. It's nothing about my child. It's about another, you're raising another human being. So if you get that kind of vision or a detachment, then you become a problem solver.
Yeah, and it's not easy for mothers, like to deal with, because they just want not the times now are so difficult and so challenging that you never know once the kid has stepped out of the house. You don't know whom is he meeting, what's happening out there. There are so many influences, and they get distracted and even misled into certain things, and then there is
Yeah,
no way out to there is no way to take care of it sometimes.
that's true. I agree. But what you have been teaching your child, or the life you have been living throughout your life, can be very strong example of what your kids choose. Because I have seen, I deal with a lot of mental health issues for youth, late teens and youth, like from 16 years to maybe youth for 24 years. And I also take care of adults. But for with teens and youth, what I have found is mostly that they have told me, and this is like common across, like 90% of teens and youth have told me, talk to my mother first. She's the one who's troubling me.
Okay.
I'm serious. Yes, yes. Is the mothers who is herself anxiety prone and not stable can cause a lot of havoc in their children's and teens' life. And this is, I have seen across the board. So in that case, those cases, I have to talk to parents first, mostly mothers, because mothers influence their children, whether it's a female child or a male child, doesn't matter, a boy or a girl. Mothers, mothers influence a child a lot. And if the mothers themselves have gone through a lot of difficulties in life, or they have not been able to handle, it has a great spillover effect on children. I must say that.
Mm.
And that's I've seen across, like, across cultures. It's very, very common. So if you want to raise a stable child, first see how you are, how your own personality is. And you have to improve before you can actually even tell your child. And if you are stable and you have grown within yourself, like spiritual wisdom has come, you don't even have to tell your child. They will just follow you just by your own personality, or the energy that you emit. Things will be different in your child's life. Even they go out of the house, they will always remember your teachings or the way you responded to situations, you know? And before they choose a wrong decision, they will always think about you if you have radiated that pure love and care for your child. But most of the time, I find that we as mothers, we want our child that shoulding culture. You should this, you must do this, and kids don't like that.
Yeah.
That's where they also go into anxiety mode. They are not able to handle because they feel that everything is pressurized on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of, mental health, areas where you have been able to help other people? What were those concerns
I
like?
have seen people ranging from being suicidal to having ADHD, having bipolar disorder diagnosed, going to psychiatrist for 2 years, no change. But after they started with me, it's like it takes time, 3 months, 6 months, sometimes 1 year, but they turn around if they are receptive to the teachings of whatever I'm teaching, because most of my teaching comes through the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita only, like building that self-awareness, connecting within. So most of the mental health disorder comes because we lose connection, that awareness with our own self. Okay. And all these practices of meditation, yoga, and the teachings of Bhagavad Gita is all about developing that self-awareness. Because that self itself is divine, isn't it? It's just covered with layers of muck of our mind, how
Yeah.
we think. So
Yeah. I'm
that's what,
trying to understand
like,
that.
sorry.
I'm trying to understand that. And the layers
Yes, yes.
that cover our mind, true self. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get
So
it.
in Bhagavad Gita, there are three types of covering. It has been described. First is the uh, tamasic covering. Tamas is like that inertia or the dullness or the negativity that covers our mind, and it's been described to it. It's been described that is hidden, that we don't even get to know the truth. It's very difficult. So just like a child is in the mother's womb, we don't see, and the child doesn't come out before 9 months. It only takes time. So sometimes the mind is so tamasic, like so much of dullness or negativity is there, that even if you keep telling somebody or they keep doing the practices, it only matures after a particular time. Okay. And then the next level of the covering of the mind, or it's called rajasic. Rajasic means too much of agitation or activity. Like that person cannot sit still. Okay, they have to do something and they get agitated very fast. And even for those, we have to keep doing the practices. So that's why that understanding has to be there. Even though my mind is as it agitated, am I sitting down for some disciplined ritual that I'm doing for myself? I know my mind is very, very disturbed. But can I sit down even for 2 minutes and just focus on my breath or chant something or do some jap? That practice. And that comes from understanding that there's something higher which I need to reach, even though I'm not there right now. But with my practices, I'll gradually. So that understanding only comes from, I don't know where it comes from actually. I think it's a blessing, which sometimes you get it that even though I'm weak right now, I know I can reach something which is better, my better version.
Hmm.
I don't know where it comes. It comes from maybe your family culture, maybe your own understanding. But when it comes, then you hang on to your practices just like the last rope. I have told many people that this is the only thing that will help you in life, nothing else. People have come to me actually in the last stages where they have got frustrated from all the therapies.
Yeah.
And I said, if you leave this, you're going into a deep pit. And they are in the deep pit already. I said, your practices is the only rope that can bring you up. So people who understand that and they really want to change. So there are three types of minds actually, in the sense, one mind is like they're not even aware of their problem. They like living in their problem and they keep complaining about their problem all the time, right?
Hmm.
Some people are like that and they keep blaming others. That's a very low stage of mind where it's very difficult for anybody else to change them, because their solution is outside. They're blaming others because of this. Problem is there because of this person or this situation. I'm in this problem.
I've been, I've been,
So
I've been there.
we all have been there actually. It's a journey.
Using because of you, this thing happened. Because of you, and
Yeah.
then it just happened over the period of years that I said, no, it's all me. It's all me.
Yeah.
I'm the cause. So, yeah,
So that is the first stage. Everybody goes, I think we all in an evolution phase. That's how the mind progresses
yeah,
from tamasic to rajasic to sattvic. And when we understand that no, the equation has to turn, the arrow has to turn inside, then you know that you have a problem, but still you don't seek solution in the right direction. Like, for example, if I want to relax, I'm very tired, I may think that, oh, I have to watch some TV back to back, then I'll relax. They
Yeah.
don't understand that sitting in silence or doing some pranayam will relax them more than watching some back to back TV, or movies.
Yeah.
So this is a second type of mind where you understand that, okay, I have a problem, but I need to seek my own solution, but that solution is not right. That means you haven't found a right direction yet. You're seeking solution in the wrong direction. Or you want to just go out and do binge shopping or binge eating, that's all solution in the wrong direction. And then when you understand the right solution and you understand that it's within me, life is in my control, then actually the growth happens. So what do you do if you're stuck with people who are at the lowest level, whether they are family members or your friends or anybody, colleagues? You can't do anything. You just work on yourself so that you don't get agitated with their problems or when they complain, because some people have always the habit of complaining, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and you give them right example so that they can at least get that positive energy from you whenever they come to you.
Mm.
You become that support structure for them. Like Krishna became the support structure for Arjun, who was in a dilemma, who was in a lot of confusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when
Yeah.
they are ready, gradually,
That incident, like many people, somebody who would be listening to this, may not be really aware of the background of the story. If you can just, give a snapshot of the life.
yeah. So, for Bhagavad Gita was given in a battlefield where one side was Pandava's army, one side was Kaurav's army. They both were related. Pandavas and Kauravas were cousins. Okay, Krishna was also related to them, but because of the political situation, because of the Kauravas were very adharmic kings, like they were not properly running the kingdom, so the praja was getting disturbed. Everything, it was not run in a proper way. So, and they were also not fair to Pandavas giving the share of the kingdom. Okay. It's a big, complicated story, Mahabharat.
Yeah.
But in short, I can say that Mahabharat was a dharma yudh. That means it was done to prevent greater harm. Like, for example, if a patient comes to a doctor with some gangrene in the foot, gangrene is when your foot has become totally dead because of certain condition, and it has to be chopped off to prevent that illness spreading throughout, right? So then you go for amputation. So that amputation is like Mahabharat, like, that involves violence, but that violence is done to prevent greater harm.
Yeah.
So that's called a dharma yudh. So to preserve dharma
Yeah.
or the right thing, that yudh is fought, that war is fought. So that's called a dharma yudh. And last time I explained the meaning of dharma. There can be many meanings of dharma. The best meaning of dharma is sustainability.
Yeah.
Okay, what sustains you, and is dharma like what action is right for everybody, not just for me. What action is right? For example, in very simple sense, dharma can be easy. For example, not crossing the red light in a traffic signal is dharma. Crossing the red light is adharma. Okay, very simple.
Yes, yeah, very
Yeah,
clear.
very clear. Similarly, people know that taking care of your body and your mind is dharma, is swadharma. It's my own duty. Nobody else is responsible. Healthcare system is not responsible.
Yeah.
We understand, but how many do that? So again, dharma is clear to people. Gyan is clear. The knowledge is there sometimes, but sometimes in situations of life, it can be very unclear. We don't know what to do, what to say, whether to say or not to say, whether to fight or not to fight, whether to withdraw or whether to confront, right? There can be a lot of gray situations in life. But more you're clear inside your mind, and more you have bigger picture of life. Like, for example, obviously kids or teenagers, they don't have bigger picture of life. Parents may have a bigger picture of life. So from that standpoint, when they explain things, they have a little bit more knowledge. Similarly, Krishna had a bigger picture of life because Krishna itself is divine being, right? That's how it's portrayed. It's a dialogue between Atma and the mind.
Mm.
That means our own divine self and the mind, what goes inside the mind. So Bhagavad Gita is metaphorically that teaching from a higher self to a lower self which is caught in the myriad of the problem of the mind.
That's beautifully said. Yeah.
So overall, the Bhagavad Gita is given in that background of battlefield. where Arjun is thinking that, oh, I have to kill my own gurus, my teachers, my grandfather, and my cousins. But he forgot that these people were causing or supporting all the adharmic activities, not so righteous activities of the present, of that time present ruler, which was Duryodhan, okay, who was not doing good to the society.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's a term in Bhagavad Gita called prayas and shreyas. Prayas is from priya, what is I like. I do what I like. Shreyas is what is good for everybody, not just me,
yeah. Okay.
not just me. And a lot of times there's a dharma sankat. I said people are not able to say. For example, there's a policeman and his team has caught his son who was doing something wrong, a policeman's son.
Yeah, yeah,
Now he loves his son. If he wants to do corruption and save his son, he can do that. But what is Shreyas? You know, what is better for the society? To give proper judgment to that son, isn't it?
yeah,
Or go through the proper process. So that was the situation of Arjun, that his own family members were in front of him, whom he has to punish through the war. He knew that he will win the war because he was the greatest warrior.
mm,
But still being the greatest warrior, he got a panic attack. So
mm,
even we are very good at our material life. When it comes to our own family members and decide what to should be done, we sometimes become chicken, like that's a term, like we get afraid, or we cannot take the wrong decisions. What if somebody elder in your family is doing something wrong? Are you able to confront that person and tell them that he or she is wrong? It may be your parent, it may be your grandparent, it may be your cousins, siblings, or sometimes your own maybe teachers. Can you go and tell them? Do we have that clarity that we can actually talk to anybody what is right, what is wrong? Or are you afraid of the situation, or are you thinking only for your own benefit? Though, oh, I will not talk to this person because my relationship with this person will get spoiled. Hmm? Sometimes we get very selfish that why should I tell, Why should I go and tell? Let him do whatever he's doing.
yeah. But then we don't have the confidence as well, because if you're younger, then you dare not speak, like, as we are, culturally, we would not like to raise voice or say pass a judgment or contradict a senior member of the family. It's not that easy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is Dharma Sankat, where you should say or not stay. So always you have to follow this direction, that what is causing more harm? Your silence is causing more harm, or your telling is causing more harm? And what will prevent the harm overall? What is shreyas for everybody? If your silence is causing more harm, then you must speak, no matter who it is against. Okay?
Yeah.
That's what Bhagavad Gita gives you the confidence. It teaches you.
Yeah, very well said. And supposing a person is already going through a certain illness, I would say illness probably because it's gone par a certain stage of um, m- mental sickness, can be anything, any side of it. So how does he retrieve his own soul from there? Like, how does he bounce back come onto the track? It is a process, but how to make him understand or ask him to see reason?
So I'm in healthcare. So one thing we have been taught very clearly, that capable adults can make their own decisions, no matter if it's right or wrong. You cannot do anything.
Yeah,
For children, you can tell them, but if an adult then understand about their problem, still they're making wrong decisions. So unless they want to change or they feel that they have to change, nobody can do anything. You're telling them will not work, it will actually backfire. So what do you do in such a case where you have a family member who is not willing to change and they're adult or seniors, you can't tell much to them. You just withdraw and spend your energy somewhere else. You work on yourself and benefit others who can actually benefit from you. And wait for time when they realize, one day they will realize, but maybe it's too late at that time. But I would say getting agitated about that or constantly telling that person is not going to help at all. It will have zero effect or minus effect, negative effect actually. So it's better to withdraw at that time and then change your strategy on how you approach. So you become powerful so that it stops affecting you. And you create clear-cut boundaries that this is my boundary and nobody should be encroaching on my boundary. Like I'm giving you the freedom to think or do whatever, but my thought and freedom should also not be encroached. That boundary has to be created. And you have to be clear with that, with confidence, that no matter what you have decided about your life or your thought process, and you don't take the burden of their thought process. Their thought process is their thought process. A lot of time in families, I've seen that whoever has this type of negative thinking, they try to impose their thought process on others, right? What I'm thinking is right, and why don't you think the way I'm thinking? But no, if your thought process is different, you take that ownership of your own thought process and be confident with that and tell them that I don't agree with your thought process. If your thought process is there, you are independent to choose your own thought process. So even have that clarity of speaking out has to be there. You understand? And that develops with your upasana, that develops with your daily meditation practices. That confidence comes gradually with your own practices, your rituals.
Yeah. So is there any kind of a daily ritual or practice of meditation that you can recommend for beginners who can at
Yes.
least start, start with it, some activity on a daily basis?
Yeah. So you have to first see where your mind is. If you really want to change and you cannot sit in silence, you should not be doing meditation. Okay. Because then it has a negative effect. What you should do is more activity-based practices. For example, doing some Surya Namaskar or some kind of movement-based practices and coordinate your breath with that. Okay. After you've done like 5 minutes of that movement-based practices, then you do certain pranayams or certain breath activities which has movement. Like Kapalbhati is one kriya. You know, Kapalbhati in which you move your tummy all the time, or Anulom Vilom in which you alternate your nostril breathing. Some kind of movement-based activity is best for people whose mind is very agitated. Okay. And again, mantra jap in Bhagavad Gita says any kind of jap is said to be the most powerful practices because why? I'll tell you. Any kind of mantra is like 2 or 3 syllable, 4 or 5 syllable, right? Longer the mantra, it can be more effective. But what it does is it creates a movement in your mind. And if you have a lot of agitation, you should not be chanting it silently. You should be chanting it using your sound energy. That way your concentration builds up. Because as long as you can focus on that mantra, like any mantra, for example, if it's A, B, C, A, B, C, like Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. So your mind is constantly into A, B, C, back to A, B, C, back to A, B, C. So that one point focus on that 3 syllables, okay, 3 words is enough to focus your mind for beginners.
Yeah.
It's almost like, and the root word of mantra is man plus tra. So it's a yantra for mind. It's a tool for mind to concentrate. So why mind need movement? It's almost like mind cannot live without movement. Not at all. Mind always needs movement. Remember this. Unless you're going into deep sleep, even when you're sleeping, when you're dreaming, your mind is moving. Mind can only become silent either in deep sleep or in coma or in very deep meditation which is a very high stage of meditation. But for normal people, mind can never go in silence. So all these tools which has movement is very effective to train a beginner's mind. It's almost like when you stand in front of an ocean, your mind gets very relaxed. Do you know why? Because that ocean is only one thing, the water, but there's constant movement of waves built into it.
In a way, it's happened. Yeah.
Yeah. So your mind gets tricked into seeing the movement, yet it's just water. That's why your mind gets so relaxed.
So
Okay.
how would you compare mantras? Sorry for it just came to my
Yeah.
mind before I forget the question itself. How would you compare mantras with the affirmations, which many people in the West and even now in the East, in India also they are practicing affirmations. And like we have Louise, she has given so many of. She started off with this, I think. And
See,
how would you compare
affirmations
them?
are also good for beginners, very good, just self-suggestion. But see, these are all tiny bits of a bigger practice. It's not the whole thing. Just with affirmation, you will not reach anywhere.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Similarly, just with pranayam, you will not reach anywhere. Affirmation is to give that momentary confidence to yourself. That's all. So that your mind focuses. And then you, if with that confidence, if you do your work, it will help you. But it's just momentarily confidence. Because see, if you see affirmation, I'm strong. Hmm? If you keep saying yourself, I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong, it's fine. But then in your daily life, when some situation happens, if you become a chicken, that affirmation has gone for a toss, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So affirmation alone doesn't work. Also, on a bigger picture, affirmation is like you are yourself directing your own energy. But our rishis have said, final goal of yoga or meditation is surrender to a higher power. Okay?
Yeah.
So the affirmation is sometimes, I mean, for beginners practice is fine, but it's somewhere it's boosting your ahankar, which is identification with the self, with the body or the mind, you know?
That's very well said. Yeah. True.
Yeah. Ahankar has to finally go. Okay, ahankar doesn't means ego. Ahankar means a very strong identification with who I am. Aham iti akar. Like I'm in this shape, I'm a female, I'm a mother, I'm a citizen of a country. That strong identification is ahankar. For example, if I'm a female or if somebody tells something bad about, oh, all the females are like that, then I'll feel very bad because I'm a female. Or if somebody says, oh, all Indians are smelly, suppose you smell because of your curry. And I've heard these comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get very strongly identified. Oh my God, because I'm an Indian, you're telling me like that. My colleague is thinking me, and I get very sad. I may go in depression. I might, I will leave that job because all my colleagues are thinking about me like that. That's a so strong ahankar. Hmm?
Mm.
So anybody giving opinion about you, if it hurts you, it's your ahankar. So giving affirmation is kind of taking ownership of what I want to achieve, which is beginner stage, but ultimately it boosts your ahankar only. You understand the very subtle
Yeah, yeah.
thing I'm saying.
And how do you identify mantra with it? What is the relationship of mantra with ahankar or mantra with the supreme
So
authority?
mantra, okay. Mantra is again mantra on something, right? And all these, like it could be Shiv mantra, Ram chanting, Hanumanji, or whatever. So if you belong to the culture, uh, as I said, these are the part of the upasana. Upasana is like building that relationship with Bhagwan, with that Ishwar. Hmm? Atma is Nirakar, which is also called Brahma. Atma and Brahm are synonymous. They're same. Okay. And we are that. We are that Nirakar Roop. Hmm? Now, what we call Ishwar or Bhagwan, we give a roop to it. We give a name or akar to it, a shape to it. Why? Because we cannot connect with that. It's very, very, very difficult to connect with that Nirakar, hmm? With that formless thing.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to connect because we are formed beings. So our rishis were so smart to design a way, okay, to have this forms of Ishwar. Ishwar is only like we can say Brahma, Ji, Vishnu, and Mahesh, Shiva, okay, and rest everybody is either a incarnation of that, avatar of that, right? If you see Hanumanji, it's a avatar of Shiva. Hmm? Ram, Krishna, avatar of Vishnu. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh are like creator, sustainer, and destroyer.
Mm.
All the mantras are related to this. If you see this creation, sustenance, and destruction, it's always happening inside our body, outside our body. Everything that you see is created for some time, sustained for some time, and get destroyed after some time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whether it's inside a body or outside a body. We
Yeah.
don't have the same body as we were kids. Body has totally changed. Each and every cell of our body has changed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Similarly, our mind is also a thought comes, it sustains for a while, and then if we want to sustain that thought little longer, it sustains. Otherwise, it gets destroyed eventually.
Yeah.
You cannot be happy all the time. You cannot be sad all the time. It comes and goes. So everything in the Prakriti or the nature, inside a body, outside a body, is the aspect of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, Shiva. Okay? So that has to be understood. So we have to use this Prakriti, you have to use this nature. Mind is also a part of nature. Our intellect is also a part of nature. Use this part of nature to go beyond nature, beyond our mind. That's where mantra plays a part, because mantra connects you with that divine form. That is why our rishis created these Puranic stories, all the stories from Puran, so that as kids, we connect with that stories, those colorful stories, and have some kind of practices or that attachment with that image,
Yeah.
some kind of love. See, devotion, the base of devotion is love. Unless you get that love for that divine being, how can you know that person? So it's difficult to love a person unless you know that person, isn't it? In our daily life also. More we know, more our love increases for that person, if we like that person.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
to know that even Ishwar, that Bhagavan, we have to spend time with that and devote some time towards sitting. Like that's what upasana is. Get to know that divine being. So I feel from childhood, you must give your child some practice or some kind of image. That's why the concept of Kul Devta or Isht Devta was given in our culture. Isht word is very beautiful. Isht means it comes from the word Ish, which is my what I want, my beloved, or what I like. It comes from the Ichha. Ish word comes, Ichha word also has the same root. That means what I like. It can be Isht Mitra also, like my beloved friend, And then that's why Isht Devta. Every family had a particular Devta.
Yeah.
Like
Even
if you go
now,
to
some people
Maharashtra,
have cultures, some, villages,
yeah,
all they have.
Kula Devta, Gram Devta, we had these concepts to connect with that divinity. That doesn't mean we have so many gods. No, it doesn't mean. It was just a method devised for people to connect with that higher self. That's all it is.
Yeah, yeah. And so God is Trinity. Can we say that God, when you mentioned God now, so we were talking about Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. So they combine as a unit, God, or God is
So
still beyond.
that's why so I refrain from using this word God, because when we hear the word God, we think of somebody sitting up in the heaven with a white beard, a male.
True.
It's nothing like that. Bhagwan, Ishwar or Bhagwan. So I'll tell you, these are technical terms. So for that, you have to study Vedant. It's not possible for me to explain this short, this thing, but I'll give you an idea. Atma is what it is. Okay. Atma or Brahma is what we are. And we are that. So that divinity, we are that divine beings only. But we don't realize because of the a mind. A mind prevents us from realizing. It's almost like a mirror which reflects the sun, okay? But that mirror has a lot of dust on it. It's not able to reflect the sun. So that divinity is within us, okay? But we are not able to reflect that divinity because the mirror, like a mind, is dusted. It's full of dust. So through our upasana, through our practices of meditation, pranayam, jap, whatever it takes, you have to clean that dust of your mind. Mirror, huh? Mirror. So metaphorically, you understand that.
Yeah.
So don't restrict Bhagwan or God to like three images or whatever. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. Bhagwan is again technical term. I just took a satsang in person. I was explaining to people that if we break Bhagwan, this is given in our Shastras, like Bha is for Bhumi. Bhumi is Dharti Ma or whatever. Anything that comes out of Dharti Ma also is part of that Bhumi. When you get up in the morning, so I took this lecture of the topic of the satsang was Bhagwan se Bhagwan tak. Okay, how do you use this nature to reach that divinity? Okay, so Bha is for Bhumi. When you get up in the morning, when you touch that floor first in your house, wherever, whether it's wooden floor or whatever it is, you should remember that Bhumi supports us, that Earth, Mother Earth supports us. Can we live without Bhagwan? They say, no, we cannot live without Bhagwan. Bhagwan is all it is. So we cannot live without Mother Earth. It sustains us for now, our being. The whole being is sustained. The food that it grows sustains us, isn't it? So bha se bhumi, ga. Bhagwan ka ga se is gagan. Gagan means space.
Yeah.
Can anything exist without space? No. The space, not only we need physical space, we also need the mental space, isn't it? If somebody squishes our mental space, do we feel good about it?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Terrible. We will die. We will die if somebody constantly hits our mind with that, doesn't give us space in our mind, and tells us what to do. Even children hate when parents tell them what to do. As adult, we even don't like when we are told that you must do this, do this. And it doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't sit with your own value system. So that gagan, we all need that space, physical space and mental space. Va is for Vayu. Hmm? Vayu is so important in yoga, isn't it?
Yeah.
Vayu, our life is of this being is between first and last breath. So whenever you breathe, be aware of your breath. So that whole word Bhagwan is to build up that awareness, why is be aware of your breath every moment. If something is agitating, be aware of your breath. Spend time with your breath. Meditation on breath can be so powerful. It can pull you out of depression or anxiety anytime. And just like it's been so much research done on this.
A lot of work done on that. I've
Yeah.
never tried it personally. I don't have that patience to focus on breath. I get
You
lost.
have to use some practice. You must have that discipline to sit with you for starting for 2 minutes to 20 minutes. You have to build up that practice. It's like going to a gym and doing that boring lifting the weight. You
Yeah.
have to do that gym here, like with your mind. Sit with yourself and do some practice. So bhagava na. Is for Agni. Agni, we have heat inside our body, isn't it? Like we have this digestive fire, what we call it, which digest all the food and give us the energy for doing everything in life. And we have the energy of the sun because of which we are sustained. Each and every being on earth is sustained by sun's energy.
Yeah.
So and we cannot survive without heat. Okay. The moment the sun is gone or the heat is gone from the whole house in the winter also, we will not survive. Okay. So that Agni is very important. That's a part of the Bhagwan word, Agni. Na is for Neer. Neer means Jal, the water. Our 75% of being is water. Inside us, outside on the earth, 75% is water.
Yeah.
So that whenever that Bhagwan sustains us, Bhagwan is nothing but this Prakriti, if your nature sustains us. Using this nature, how we go beyond our thing, right?
Yeah. Very beautifully explained. Thank you.
Yeah. So you must have a personal practice, I would say, for anybody who's going through tough times in their life, because you have to understand that nobody is going to come and help you. Absolutely no one. Not even your parents or your spouse or your siblings or your own children, they're not going to help you. You alone can help yourself ultimately. So you have to take that responsibility of going within, connecting with that divine being inside you. And these are the plethora of practices. But finding that good person who can guide you in the right direction is also very important, who can help you, guide you once in a while. And we are very intelligent being. Once we start feeling that benefit of our practices, we're not going to leave that practices because we always do things which are beneficial to ourselves.
Yeah.
That's a basic survival instinct. So try that. Try for some time, 3 months, not for 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and keep doing it. Keep doing it. You will succeed one day.
Yeah, so coming back to our thing, a person who is trying to manage his stress, anxiety, depression, or any mental health related issue, wherever it has started or it is at a certain stage. So, and supposing he is truly seeking help and support, how would you lead him through the teachings of the
Agni.
Bhagavad Gita?
I teach by developing that self-awareness, okay? Like distancing yourself from your mind. So everybody is truly divine if we really feel it's a mind that is creating a havoc. So first of all, have that separation. And mind is guided by the chemicals in our brain and our body. So the experiences that we have gone through our life, the ups and downs, have developed a lot of chemicals in our brain. Okay, it can be good chemical or a bad chemical. Bad experiences leads to bad chemicals like cholesterol, adrenaline, all those things. Actually, they're circulating in your body right now if you're in trouble, okay? If you have kind of anxiety, depression, those chemicals are present in your body. So you have to understand one thing. Your behavior may not be what you want, but it is the effect of the chemicals present in your body. Your mind is actually, what do we call it? It's creating a havoc because of the chemicals. It's almost like the puppets, you know, how we have strings and we do the puppets. So those chemicals are actually guiding you. But do you want to get guided by the chemicals all the time? No. How do we change that? So whatever has gone inside our body, inside our blood or our brain, we cannot remove it just like that. There's no chemical or we cannot suck it out. Okay, it's there. Maybe it's from childhood. Some people have trauma from childhood, right? Bad parenting or some kind of abuse in the childhood they have experiences, physical, emotional abuse they have experienced. Those chemicals are still circulating in your body. So you have to understand that it's not you, it's your experiences and the chemicals in your body that have shaped you in this position. First of all, that understanding. So stop feeling bad about yourself. First thing. Second thing, like I said, what has gone inside the body is circulating in your brain and your chemicals, you cannot suck it out. Because body and mind is like a fixed ghada, fixed vessel, you know. Suppose in the old villages, you know, those have villages have earthen pots like ghada, which was fixed in the ground to store water. Have you seen those like big things? So what happens when a dirty water goes in or a mud goes into that fixed vessel? You cannot do it ulta, right? You cannot go it like this and remove the dirty water.
Or, yeah, filter it out. It's not
So
easy.
what is the option? You keep filling it with good water all the time. Keep filling good water from top so that ultimately the bad water comes out.
It's all gone. Yeah.
Similarly, in a mind and a body filled with those nasty chemicals which creating a havoc in our mind, we keep doing our good practices every day. Forget about, don't think why you're like that. Don't think why you're thinking negative. You will think negative because of your chemicals in your body and brain. So never judge yourself. What you keep doing is keep filling that vessel of your body and your mind with good practices from top. Keep doing, just like a discipline. Keep going to the gym. Like you keep going to the gym. One day you will feel your muscles have become stronger. Similarly, one day you will feel by with practices of yoga, meditation, pranayam. Pranayam is very, very helpful. You will feel one day that, oh my God, I'm not reactive anymore. I don't react to the same situation what I used to react 5 years back, you know? It happens gradually. It happens very gradually. You have to have patience, but you don't leave your good practices because the effect of good practices will seep into your body and your brain, and those bad chemicals will gradually get flushed out.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
think.
patience is very important with these practices. Don't go for short-term solution. You can seek short-term solution. People have taken medication also. I always said never stop your medication. Okay. But keep doing your practices and gradually maybe your doctor will tell you now you need to reduce your dose. So, so remember anything outside is only temporary. Any medication you seek or even talk therapy, what I give or all the psychologists or psychiatrists do is outside intervention. But what interventions you do with your own body and mind is more from inside out, it'll change you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
focus more on that. You must have a practice every day to sit with yourself, dedicated practice. And you must promise yourself that no matter what, even I'm sick, even I'm lying down in fever, you still have your breath with you, isn't it?
Yeah. So pranayam is a yoga kriya with breathing. It's all to do with breathing exercises.
Pranayama is not merely breathing exercises, it is attaching your feeling to the breathing exercises. For example, if I tell you you're breathing right now, just focus on the temperature of your air entry and exit. You'll feel the temperature difference. The air that you breathe in is slightly cooler. The air that you breathe out is slightly warmer, isn't it? Do you feel that subtle temperature difference?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you just focus on that, even if you're so tired coming after an 8 hour job, you know, driving in traffic, every red light, can you focus on your breath? Start with that, at least. So you should not be thinking that, oh, only if I find dedicated time, 20 minutes, I'll sit for my meditation. It never happens sometimes. Sometimes you have to find that time in between your life, you know? while waiting for your coffee, or while cooking your dinner. You can get creative. So if somebody really wants to improve, they can get creative. And you have to sprinkle those pranayam, those meditation technique throughout your life. What about just folding your laundry or doing that vacuum? Your breath is always with you. Your mantra chanting can always be with you.
And that reminds me, do you give, I mean, if anybody is interested, do you give mantras to people who are seeking,
No, no. I am not a rishi or something to give mantra, but I can give a lot of meditation and pranayam practices based on where your mind is. Okay. And I would suggest don't be into a thing that if somebody gives me mantra, then only my life will change. It's not like that. The teacher or the guru can come in the form of this podcast or the book, anything. Try to learn from everybody and anybody. See
Absolutely.
the resilience of the grass blade which comes out through the concrete. That can also become your inspiration, isn't it?
Yeah.
Try to learn from anything and everything and start with small practices, because those small habits will build up your practice eventually. So don't wait for a guru to come in your life or somebody to give you a mantra. It won't happen. It won't happen that way. Okay. Sometimes you have to build up your practice to a particular level when somebody suddenly shows up in your life who can give you some greater practices. But it starts with your own practice first.
Yeah, thank you. We are almost coming close to the time. Do you have any message for any of us, who are listening, and maybe we are struggling on our daily basis with our discipline, routine, and mental agitation? I would say that, like anything that disturbs us.
Yeah. So sometimes when you don't have even energy to do any practices, you think in your mind that I will eventually start that. Have a vision for yourself. Okay. How do you want to look maybe 2 years from now or 1 year from now? What is that you want to? So that vision about yourself, your own goals have to be clear in your mind. Okay. Okay. I want to sit for meditation for 20 minutes. Am I able to do this today? Not at all. And I'm not able to sit for 20 seconds. But do you have a vision for yourself? 5 years, 3 years, whatever you can do, long-term vision. And then you strongly have that conviction that no, I want to start practices gradually. Even though I sit for 20 seconds today on my mat or just focus on my breath for 20 seconds, I will do that. You have to be a little stubborn about your growth.
Yeah.
Once you become a little stubborn about your growth, like, no, I want to achieve this state of mind, what others have achieved. I'm also a human being, they're also a human being. If they can achieve, why can't I achieve? That discipline has to be developed. मन तो लगता नहीं है actually. My mind, our mind runs away.
It's
It's like a toddler. You have to bring it back. Keep bringing it back. So mind running away is not a problem. Don't feel guilty about it. Your job is to bring that mind back. Your job is like a mother whose toddler is running away from, eating food. Your job as a mother is to bring your mind you back to yourself, to your practices.
Yeah.
And set some time separately, for sure, 2 minutes or 5 minutes. But as I said, sprinkle those meditation techniques like breath awareness throughout the day, no matter what you're doing. That will build your energy faster to have the ability to sit for longer time.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. I really appreciate this conversation, and I am sure we'll learn more from you in the next talk, whenever that's possible. I look forward to, learning more from you. And
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to you and giving out this information, because once we start loving our own practices, there's nothing like it. Then your growth is like inevitable. So be a little selfish about self-care. It's not selfish actually, but only when you're healthy and happy, you can take care of everything and everyone around you, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Archana ji. I'm so grateful for your presence here.
Thank you so much.